The day I let go of everything and found what truly mattered. There comes a moment in every person's life when the weight of all their striving becomes too heavy to bear, not because they're weak, but precisely because they've been too strong for too long. I remember my moment with crystalline clarity. It was a Tuesday morning, utterly ordinary in every way except for how it changed everything. The alarm pierced through my restless sleep as it had 1,000 times before. But this time, when my hand fumbled for my phone, something unexpected happened. Tears, hot, insistent, and completely unbidden, began streaming down my face before I could even unlock the screen. My body had decided what my mind refused to acknowledge. I couldn't do this anymore. The constant performing, the endless proving, the relentless hustle that had me answering emails at midnight and apologizing for taking weekends off, it was killing me in ways I hadn't allowed myself to see. That morning, I made the most radical decision of my life. I stopped. Not forever. Just for that day. I called in sick to work, something I'd never done without actual physical illness. I left my phone in another room. I made tea and actually drank it while it was still warm, instead of letting it grow cold as I rushed through my morning routine. And as I sat by the window, watching sunlight filter through the trees, something miraculous happened. The world didn't end. No angry calls came in. No disasters unfolded because I wasn't available. The only thing that happened was this. I began to remember who I was beneath all the doing. The me who loved the smell of old books and the sound of rain on rooftops. The me who used to write poetry no one would ever see. The me who didn't need to earn her right to exist through productivity. What followed was the most profound unlearning of my life. I began to see how many of my choices weren't really choices at all. They were fear in disguise. Fear of not being enough. Fear of being left behind. Fear that if I stopped running, I'd discover I had nowhere to go. As Buddhist teacher Pema Chödrön writes, nothing ever goes away until it has taught us what we need to know. My exhaustion, my anxiety, my constant tension, they weren't failures. They were my wisest teachers. The process that unfolded wasn't quick or linear. Some days I backslide into old habits, mistaking busyness for worthiness. Other days I had to sit with uncomfortable truths about how I'd abandoned myself to please others. But gradually, something shifted. I began to measure my days by how alive I felt rather than how much I accomplished. Say no to opportunities that looked impressive but felt draining. Notice the subtle beauty in ordinary moments I used to rush past. Trust that rest wasn't just permissible but sacred. The most surprising discovery, as I released what wasn't truly mine to carry. I created space for what actually mattered. My relationships became more authentic because I stopped people-pleasing. My work became more meaningful because I chose projects aligned with my values rather than my ego. Even my body began to heal from chronic stress symptoms I'd accepted as normal. Now, when I feel the old pressures creeping back, when society's voice whispers that I should be doing more, hustling harder, I return to that Tuesday morning. I remember how my tears carried more truth than any achievement ever had, and I ask myself the questions that became my compass. Does this choice come from love or fear? Am I trying to prove something or express something? What would my most authentic self do right now? The answers always guide me home to the version of me that knows my worth, isn't contingent on my output, the version that understands deep in my bones what poet David Whyte meant when he wrote, "Rest is the conversation between what we love to do and how we love to be." To anyone reading this who feels that familiar tightness in their chest, that constant background hum of not enough, try this experiment. For one day, or even 1 hour, do less, be more. Notice what happens when you stop performing and start existing. You might discover, as I did, that peace wasn't something to achieve but something to remember. That your value wasn't waiting at some future finish line but breathing with you all along. The world will try to tell you otherwise. It will equate your productivity with your worth, your busyness with your importance. But here's the revolutionary truth. You are not what you produce. You are the space between the doing, the quiet, the breath, the being. And that is always enough.